Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Students of the Word. This is session number 95. And today we come to what I can't help but feel is a bit of a surprise ending to paragraph 16. We've been wrestling with this paragraph, which feels unexpectedly complicated. Um, John is bringing together concepts that we've seen before and some kind of new ideas. Um, we got into a really complicated kind of syntax thing, which I want to start with again, see if we can figure out the sentences a bit. But we're going to come today to the final sentence of the paragraph. And it's going to be all about the victory word, Nike, the overcoming and being victorious over things, which we've seen in two other places already in this epistle, which I want to look back at, of course. Um, but I didn't like victory, overcoming things is not where I thought we were headed in this paragraph. Um, so it's we're gonna see if we can make sense of things here tonight as we make an attempt to wrestle our way through the end of paragraph 16. So we'll come back as I say, but let's just start there um, reading the last paragraph. Whoever believes that Jesus is the Christ is born of God, and whoever loves the Father, that is, the one who does the begetting, loves those who are begotten of him. By this we know that we love the children of God. If we love God and keep his commandments. For this is the love of God, that we, no, wait, that one's make his commandments happen. For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not heavy. For whatever is born of God overcomes the world. There's our victory word. And it's over the cosmos, it looks like from the English. It's the cosmos that we're overcoming. Everybody who's born of God. And this is the victory, same word, I think, that has overcome the world. So we got three times overcomes the world, and this is the victory that has overcome the world. Our faith. Okay. All right. All right. So let's try to sort this out here. Okay. First, let's 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 just look at the words here. Let's try to understand this last sentence first, and then we'll come back to the syntax questions. I haven't forgotten them because I still think they're very interesting. But let's try to sort this out first. Okay. For okay, Hote, and this herein lies our syntactical problem. But anyway, Hote pan to that's each of the having been born ones, right? Because it's pan singular. For each of the having been born ones, that Hote is that each of the having been born ones, having been born of God ones. For each of the having been born of God ones, Nika ton cosmon. There it is. Nika, Nike, over has victory over the world. Let's okay, hang on. Let's keep going. Nika ton cosmon has victory over the world. Kai and Haute, and this is the victory. I was going to say, didn't we just get Haute? Yeah, we did. This is the love of God. Haute estin he agape to Theo. This is the love of God. And now we're getting, and Haute estin he Nike. And this is the victory. And I was right. In Greek, it's like overcome and victory look like in English look like they're related to each other, but it's the same word. We've got a verb form and a noun form of the identical word. Um, Victory is just straight up Nike, precisely like the shoe brand. And this is Nike that has Nike'd the world. Having overcome is a hmm, that's a that's a participle, right? Aorist participle. Yeah. Okay. It's a va is it? It's the aorist. So this is it's like a past participle. This is the victory that overcame the world, essentially. Okay. And so having over like sorry, the participle here, you, I'm trying to give a comparison to what this looks like to me. Um, he's using a participle of the word victory to modify the noun victory. Like what victory are we talking about? Oh, we're talking about the the victoried the the victoried victory. I mean, it's I can't even see how to right, right. You know, it's the the victorious victory is the victory that we're talking about. It's like I don't know. Okay. No, so I think I understand how this is working. I'm just trying to wrap my mind around why you would say this. Because it's in English, it's almost impossible not to translate that with a verb, right? This is the victory that has overcome the world. Now, notice that's still modifying victory. It's an adjectival clause in English. What victory is it? Oh, it's that victory that victoried the world. We don't, again, this is another thing. It's another example of, remember, I've talked about transitive verbs before in English, like a verb that takes a direct object. There's some that do and some that don't. So, like, um, uh, overcome has to have is a transitive verb. Like that has to have a direct object. Like you can't just, I mean, you can say I overcame, but like what did you overcome? Like you need a direct object for that, or you need to at least imply a direct object. You can say I overcame, but you would only say that without an object, but you'd only say that to somebody who knew what you were talking about, right? So it's an implied object. Um, uh, but yeah, so I'm trying to think of how to, and notice the fact that they're using the English word overcome is like we don't do this in English. That is, use the word victory as a verb. We don't we don't have that word. Um, I mean, winning isn't quite the same. Yeah, winning is the closest comparison. I mean, you can have a win, you can be a winner, and you can win. Um, triumph, yes, you can triumph and have a triumph as well. That's similar. Um, but notice in English, triumph is an intransitive verb. You don't triumph something, right? You can triumph over something, but you can't like you wouldn't say like, oh yeah, we triumphed the opponent, right? That doesn't work in English. Um, defeated, yes. Um, yeah. We could say to victory, Scott, but if we say that, we're that's a prepositional phrase, essentially. It sounds like a verb, but it isn't a verb. It's a prepositional phrase. Um, yeah. Defeat. I never noticed that, Jackie. Notice the irony, right? When you use in English, when you use the word defeat as a verb, it means to win. When you use the verb defeat as a noun, it means to lose. I've never noticed that before. Right. Yeah. You can defeat somebody, but if you have a defeat, it's the opposite thing. Right. So that doesn't quite work either. Um, let's so here are the steps of what we need to do. Step one, let's try to sound um let's try to figure out this Nike verb a little bit more. We've encountered it by my memory twice already in this epistle. And we'll go back and we'll look at those in a second. Um, but this is by far the biggest, I mean, three times in this sentence, right? So let's try to wrap our heads around that word, first of all, to see if we can understand the implications of it. Um, secondly, let us, once we do that, let's try to figure out how that word relates to cosmos, because that's what is being overcome both times. That's the direct object twice of this. Both of the times it's used as a verb or a participle, it's the world is the object of that verb. The thing being victoried, right? Um, yeah, as always, what I'm trying to figure out, I don't just want to try to like guess at an English equivalent. Right? I'm not trying to render this in English. I'm trying to understand it in Greek. What does that word mean? What are the connotations of that word? When you Nike something, like, what does that mean? Um, and when you talk about a Nike, like this is the Nike, what are you talking about? Um, because again, think in English. Think about the difference between defeat, conquer, and triumph, right? Those mean not the same thing exactly. Vanquished, okay. That's can't use it as a noun also, but yeah, it's okay. We don't have to. Here, so let's first off, let's go back. So our first priority, see how John used it. So there are two times that I remember it, as I say, off the top of my head. One is back here in paragraph 12. Remember, it was about the false prophets. This is one. Remember, we were trying to figure out what the direct object of this was. Um, verse 4 of chapter 4. You are ektutheu. You are from God, little children, and have overcome them. You've victoried them. And remember, we're like, who are they? And we had to go back because like the only wasn't it neuter plural? Anyway, the only grammatically agreeing noun that this could fit with is the false prophets, all the way back in verse 1. Um, so we are overcoming the prophets because greater is he who is in you than he who is in the world. So this it is worth noting, though we'll come back to this in a minute, that this is in the context of some kind of rivalry with the world as well. So the cosmos is involved the last time that Nike came in. Um, but it wasn't the world that was being overcome. It was the false prophets that are being overcome. And I'm not real sure what exactly, I don't know how, this doesn't help me very much to understand that word, the connotations of that word. You have overcome them. He hasn't been talking about a rivalry. He talks about testing the breathings, see which breath is coming from God. And we get that laid out in verses 2 and 3, the breathings that do and do not come from God. This is the breathing, the one that doesn't confess that Jesus is Christ has come in the flesh, is not from God. And this is the spirit of the Antichrist, singular, which you have heard is coming, and now it's already in the world. You are from God, and you have overcome them, plural, the false prophets. In what sense have you overcome them? What's the competition? What's the competition exactly? Um, like if there's victory, does it mean defeat like in a military or, you know, combat sense? Or is it like some kind of competition? Greater is he who is in you than he who is in the world. Sounds like it. So is it like just I mean, obviously, the context in which it's used by the shoe company is a sports context, right? Um, they are from the world. Therefore, they speak us from the world, and the world listens to them. We are from God. The one who knows God listens to us. Yeah. So that's the other usage. Doesn't really make the word transparent to me. Now, the other one is much longer ago, back in the poem. One more. Paragraph 5. I am writing to you, little children, because your sins have been forgiven you for his name's sake. I am writing to you, fathers, because you know him who has been from the beginning. I am writing to you, young men, because you have overcome the evil one. I have written to you, children, because you know the Father. I have written to you, fathers, because you know him who has been from the beginning. I have written to you, young men, because you are strong, and the word of God abides in you, and you have overcome the evil one. So in both cases, in the poem, our little inset poem, let's go back here. So we're looking at verse 12 of chapter 2. Okay. Grapho human technia, haughty. I'm writing to you in that you have been forgiven of your sins have been forgiven for the sake of the name of him. I am writing to you, fathers, because you have known him who is from the beginning. I am writing to you, young men, because you have, there it is, ne nike kate, you have overcome. Present perfect. Yeah, present perfect. In English, it's present perfect. It's just perfect in Greek. Because, and remember, this is like you are in the state of having achieved victory over the evil one. But it is, again, I can't use the word victory. I want to use the word victory, but I can't use the word victory because it's not a transitive verb in English. You can't victory the evil one. So in paragraph 16, it's the world that's being victoried. In paragraph 12, it's the false prophets that are being victoried. In paragraph 5, it's the Poneron, the evil one, that's being victoried. Hmm. Okay. And then twice in that, but in line 3 and 6 of the poem, we get it. Okay. Let's let's now look at all the occurrences where you guys are getting ahead of me, and Stephen and Jackie are pointing out that John loves this word and uses it, what Jackie says, 21 out of the 25 times it's used in the wait, hang on a second. Oh, the noun is only used once. Huh, this is it. This is the victory is the only time the word Nike has been used. So this alone is interesting. The fact that this is not a common word is a thing to note just from the beginning, right? Um, this is not a common concept. Okay. So let's see. We get it in Luke 11. Oh, yes. When, however, the one stronger than he comes upon him, he shall overcome him and take away his panoply, his armor, in which he had trusted, and divide the plunder. Oh, man. So, yeah, it's the strong man being armed might guard his house, and the possessions of him are in peace, but then when a stronger man comes, he overtakes him. Okay, so when Luke uses it, he uses it explicitly in a physical contest. It is um, a physical violence context. You're standing there guarding over something, but then somebody stronger comes and kicks your butt. Okay. Yep. Vanquish, Jackie. I can get behind Vanquish here. I don't know why I'm very resistant to the translation overcome, and I'm not sure why. I, well, we'll see. Okay. John 16. But take courage. I have Nike'd the world. These things I have spoken to you, so that in me you may have peace. In the world you have thlipsine. What a fun word. Tribulation. Not fun, but the word is fun. Thlipsine. Um, but take courage. I have victoried the world. But what a strange statement that is, too, isn't it? You have peace in me, and in the world you have tribulation. So it just sounds like two destinations, right? You can be in me and have peace, or you can be in the world and have tribulation. And then Jesus says, but take courage and then like, you imagine how he's going to finish that sentence, right? You have peace in me and you have trouble in the world, but take courage because what, like my guess of how to end that sentence would be like, because I've got lots of openings, right? You're welcome over here, right? Where there's peace, like you can hang out with the peace instead of hanging out with the tribulation, right? Like don't worry. You don't have to go with the tribulation. You can stay here. We're good. But instead he doesn't do that. Instead he's like, yeah, but don't worry. I vanquished the world. And it's like, wait, but is that's what we're talking about? I thought we were talking about the two different destinations, one good, one bad for us. Like two different places where we can be in you or in the world. One being peaceful and one being flippant, right? One being full of tribulations. And and now at the end of that sentence, you're introducing this conflict, direct conflict between the two things, the two destinations. And of course it's important for us. I'm dwelling on this one a little bit because of course Cosmon as the direct object of Nenikeka is exactly what we're talking about here in paragraph 16. Okay, so here he's so the first time it's in a parable and it's not used metaphorically, it's used literally. And the literal usage is somebody with weapons comes, you have weapons and armor, somebody with who also has weapons comes and cleans your clock and takes your weapons and armor away and steals all your stuff, right? That's the seems to be the non-metaphorical use of Nike. This is clearly a metaphorical use. I say clearly. This is probably uh, a metaphorical use. Yeah, Jackie, I'm trying not to get too far distracted by John 16 here. Um, about his way being peace and yeah, there's a lot there to try to wrap my head around, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just trying to understand the word. And of course, it's accompanying direct object here, which is perfectly relevant, obviously. Okay. All right. All right. We got Paul too. Here we go. Paul, hit us. Uh, okay. So more metaphor. Meganoito. May it never be. Sorry. What is the question specifically to which he is to, um, what if some disbelieved? This is Romans 3. Um, will not their unbelief nullify the faithfulness of God? That's our rhetorical question, to which the answer is meganoito. May it never be. Um, let be, however, let God, however, be true, and every man now absustes, a liar, that's a familiar word for us, kathos, just as it has been written, we're going to quote, that you may be justified in your words and will Nike in your being judged. Okay, so here it's winning in court. Okay. Okay, so it's a forensic word too. So if the judge decides in your favor, that's also Nike. Okay. All right, that's useful. That's useful, right? Especially remember the whole courtroom drama thing? I mean, there's been this whole courtroom drama thread that's gone through this whole epistle. So, okay. Okay, so Nike is a courtroom word. That that is super helpful. Really helpful. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Paul. Okay, and then we get it twice. Let's go back one verse for context. Allah. But if the enemy of you should hunger, feed him. If he should thirst, give him drink. For doing this, you will heap coals of fire upon his kephelen, upon his head. Coals of fire verse. Excellent. Okay. And so in that context, if somebody does bad to you, do good to them. Coals of fire. Don't be overcome passive middle? Passive imperative? Okay. Passive imperative. Present imperative passive. Okay. Right. Don't be victoried by evil, but victory, active imperative, but victory en to agatho, but victory in the good. Whoa. Victory. Yeah, no, no. Okay, sorry, it's all in the cases because evil is accusative, which means it's the direct object, and good is dative, which means it's in the indirect. It's the indirect object. But overcome evil with good, but it's not with, it's in. Are they always doing my, the in preposition dirty? That's not with. But into agatho, but in the good, overcome evil in the good, literally. Okay. So you got to Nike the evil. You don't want to get Nike'd by the evil. You don't want to get Nike'd by the evil. Okay. Okay. Um, all right. So, Randall, uh we're in the middle of trying to word study Nike. I'm trying to figure that out. So far, we have come across what I think are two literal usages of it. One, when in his parable, Luke talks about actually getting knocked down and beat up by a stronger man, which seems to be a non-metaphorical usage of being defeated, being victoried by somebody who's attacking you. So it's a physical altercation, literal usage. And the second one was Paul when he was talking about overcoming in a legal context. So it was a courtroom word, which I got excited about because, um, um, yeah, yeah, um, yeah, yeah. Okay. So don't get beaten by evil, but beat evil with good. I'm still trying to figure out why I keep resisting overcome. And the reason I resist overcome is that in English, overcome is super vague. That is, there's almost the only physical metaphors that are contained in the English verb overcome are so dead that they no longer are operative. Um, we use the word overcome when we're speaking vaguely. I don't get the impression that Nike is a vague word. I don't get the impression that Nike in Greek is anything like as vague and I don't know what, indescript. There's no metaphor. Again, there's no metaphor contained in the word overcome. It's a pretty neutral word, and I think that's why they keep using it. But I don't think that's right. At least I don't get the impression that that's right. Um, yeah, it's not that I think there's anything wrong with it. It's not that like I'm not trying to say that it's like a wrong translation, but I don't think I'm not confident that it's capturing what we're doing in in Greek with the word Nike. It's about winning a competition. All right, well let's keep saying evil's gonna vanquish you, but don't get vanquished by evil. Vanquish it in the good. Okay. Then we have the paragraph 5. You've overcome the Panero. Then we have the you have overcome the false prophets that we already looked at. Then we have the two usages in this verb, and oh look, we're going to get it in the next sentence also, transitioning into this paragraph 17, and then we get it in Revelation. Oh, wow. To him who overcomes, I remember that. It's in the messages to the angels. To the one having an ear, let him hear what the pneuma says to the churches. To the one victorying, I will give him to eat of the tree of life, which is in the paradise, in the garden of God. Okay. To the one who conquers. Don't you think this is a reference? I mean, remember the guy who comes in conquering later in Revelation? You know, on the white horse and everything? Yeah, we get this a bunch. One having an ear, let him hear. The Honikon. Oh, that's really interesting. We get a Greek double negative. Honikon ou me adikethe. No not shall be injured by the death. This, the deutero death, the second death. Now, Randall, I'm guessing from this that Greek, like Middle English and most sensible languages, has the double negative thing where like if you have two negatives, it's twice as negative. Yeah, exactly. Very strong negative. Yeah, that's what I thought. Um, yeah, the only thing more stronger than a double negative is a triple negative, right? Um, I love that. With the whole modern English double negative thing, we can say very subtle things, and it's useful. I mean, a double negative is a useful, like in a modern double negative sense, is a useful thing to be able to do. It's a cunning thing, but it lacks the pure, delicious force of the old-fashioned double negative, which is just twice as negative. Okay, so this is just the participle, Nikon. It's the present participle to the victor, like the victorying one, the one who is the one who's winning. And we keep learning all this stuff about the winning one. The victory now that Nikonti, the victorious one, will get the manna, the hidden manna, the manna that had been hidden, and the white stone, and on the stone a new name written which no one has known. Right. And all of these things are going to the victor, but it's not using a noun. It's using a participle. It's taking this action, this victory action. So the context I'm getting from this, from Revelation here, one, two, three, four times. Right. Again, I think of it in the King James, and he that overcometh, right? Um, these don't these sound like the spoils that the victor will receive? Isn't that the play here? The winner gets all this stuff, the overcomer, the victorious one. And again, it's not a noun, it's the verb, the one who's doing the victorying. And then it looks like we're still getting that in 3-5. Honikon. Yep. Exact same thing. It will be clothed in white garments. Of course. The winner gets fancy new clothes. That happened. Like in actual games and things. And they'll be praised in front of the royal onlookers. It sounds like somebody winning the games. Like a like the Olympics or something. Honikon, the conquering one, the winning one. I will make him Poiezo. I'm gonna make this happen. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it happen to him. I'm gonna make him a pillar in the temple of my God. Yeah. So like, I'm gonna make a statue to him. Yeah. This is all games. This is like his this whole thing. That is Revelation 2 and 3. Whenever he keeps doing this, it looks like an extended I say Olympic game because those are the ones I know best. But of course they did games all the time. Um yeah, well, it's like the goddess Jackie, but I no, I don't think it is. It's it's like the winner of athletic games. If you compete in the games, what do you get? You get new clothes and you get exempted from punishment and you get prizes and you get your name praised and written up, right? And you get like, whatever, the emperor waving at you and praising your name, and you get a statue made to you, right? Like this is like what it means to succeed, to be the winner in the games. And like the victory in war. Yeah, absolutely. Which of course the games was always kind of imitating. To learn overcoming, I will give you to sit with me on the throne. Yep. Yeah, exactly. As I also overcame and sat down with the Father. Yeah. Okay. So, okay. So that helps a lot. That helps a lot. Okay. Because it's not, it doesn't seem to mean conquer. It seems to mean win a competition with specifically. And it might be a military competition. Those are competitions too. Right? But you got two people competing with each other and one wins. One beats the other one. That's what Nike means. And it can be used in a court case. There, it's semi-metaphorical. It can be used, again, a physical confrontation between two people. It can be used in an athletic competition between two people or potentially more than two. But remember, that's exactly how Paul was using it when he talked about overcoming evil. Like, don't let, like, you're in a wrestling match with evil. Don't let evil win. Don't let evil beat you. You got to beat it. And that's the context of overcoming the evil one, also. The young men in the poem, in paragraph 5 of First John, are in a competition with the evil one, and they're going to win. And doesn't that make so much more sense of the paragraph 12 usage with the false prophets? It's not that you're trying to conquer them like as if they're a foreign country or something like that. You're in a you're matched up against them and you're going to win. And that makes sense. What's the competition in paragraph 12? It's a breathing competition, remember? There's all that breathing going on in paragraph 12. They're breathing ek to Cosmo and we're breathing ek to Theo. You gotta test the breathings because there are some breathings that are ecto and there are some breathings that are not ecto and there's this other breathing, the breathing that's not ecto but is ecto Cosmo is actually from the Antichrist. Um, but it's okay because we're going to beat them, not the Antichrist, the other breathers, the false prophets, the ones who are breathing from the world and we're breathing from God. We're in a competition and we're going to win. And it applies to the courtroom drama concept that we've seen, I won't say repeatedly, but recurringly, right? It's kept coming up in First John because you've got two competing sides. That is, it's us against the Panera. It's us against the evil one. But we have a paraclete, a defense attorney. There's the Diabolos, who's the accuser, the plaintiff, right? The prosecuting witness. And we've got our paraclete, who's the defending counsel. And we know who's going to win that judgment. Okay. Yeah, Scott, I agree. After my name study, that is one of my primary conclusions as well. That the nomenclature people for the athletic wear company, genius. Perfect. Right. Like they couldn't have done better. Um, I've long thought that Nike was a classic example of a classic, so to speak, example of a really, really well-named corporation. And now I believe it even more. Um, okay. So back to our sentence and our three Nikes. For everyone, for each of the having been hoti panto gegenemenon ektutheu, for each of the having been begotten of God ones defeats the world. I'm upset I can't do that, Jackie, because then I have to say, and this is the defeat, right? Which means the opposite thing. Um, oh, the Nicolaitans, that's a separate word, Scott, that he uses. I think it's a I don't remember where that's from. It might be a geographical. Paul refers, or sorry, John refers to the Nicolaitans in Revelation in the chapter 2 and 3 section. And but I don't think it's connected with this word. It's maybe the location is. I mean, maybe incidentally in that way. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Um, right. Nicholas comes from that. Yes. Nico Laos. Yeah. Winner. Yes. Okay. So I'm failing in my desire to find an English word that I can use in all three cases. But I'm just gonna, okay, I'll just do it again. For each of the having been begotten ektutheu, begotten of God ones, victories the world, defeats the world. I still don't like overcome because I want to get winning in. Again, overcome is too vague because we use it in lots of different contexts. Like, you know, you can also overcome a headache, right? Like I had a headache, but I overcame it. And that's not Nike. I mean, it's a kind of victory. I'm not saying it isn't, but you know what I mean? Like it's not a head to head, it's not winning a head to head competition. Though head to head is a little ironic when thinking of a headache. Um, no, no, you didn't. You didn't. Again, we say overcome not when you've defeated an opponent. I don't even think it's metaphorically considering the headache an opponent. It is saying you got past an obstacle, which is not the same thing as competing against an opponent. Obstacles are one of the primary things we overcome. In as much as, right, dealing with the difficulty is overcoming. Yes, this is the problem I'm having. This is why I'm disliking overcome as a translation here. Because our usage of that tends to be about getting past difficulties. When we use overcoming, it's almost always a solitary thing. We don't usually have a competitor. And it's often minor, Jackie. Yes, exactly. If you're dealing with some kind of minor nagging thing or annoying issue, you overcome annoyance too. Again, it can be used in a Nike sense. I mean, you can have a wrestling match and overcome your opponent. Like, yeah, sure. Right. Like Jacob did, Scott. Sure. Absolutely. I guess the word can be used in that way, but it's not how we normally use it. Yeah. Um, yeah, it's a metaphorical usage that tends to minimize the impact, Randall. Exactly. But I think what seems to me from what I mean, again, we only got 28 usages in the New Testament. So that's, like 10% of what we've gotten on some other words, but still, those 28 usages paint a pretty clear picture. And the picture that it paints is very clearly of you have an opponent. You are in a wrestling match with somebody else. I keep going to wrestling because that was like an actual, Greek sport. Um, but you are in a one-on-one competition or a one-on-many, but you are in a competition with other competitors and you beat them. Yeah. And so again, it's not um it isn't that I think overcome it doesn't work, but I'm just explaining why I don't love it because our common usage of that, most of the time we use it, we don't use it in that sense. Interesting. Okay, Randall says that the LSJ entries, that is the broader Greek usage, shows much the same usage as found in the New Testament. So yes, that it's a competition word. It's not a I agree. I do think that when we talk about overcoming a headache, we're speaking semi-meta like it's loosely metaphorically, as if JJ, as you suggested, the headache were our opponent and we beat it. We won in the Nike sense. But it is not the sense, it doesn't have that force most of the time. I think that overcome, what metaphor, what physical metaphor lies behind the English word overcome is crawling over things, like literally getting over an obstacle. Like if there's something in your way and you climb over top of it and keep going. And yes, like that's a kind of competition, but it's not this kind of competition. This competition is you, your opponent. You're both trying to win. One of you is going to win and one of you is going to lose. That's what Nike is. And I think you can see that every usage in First John points that way. You versus the Panero, you versus the evil one. Who's going to win? You versus the false prophets in your breathing competition, your speaking competition. Who's going to win? Here, again, you against the world. And who's going to win? I go back to, what was it, John 16 we were looking at, where Jesus says, my way is peace and the world's way is, in me is peace and in the world is tribulation. But don't worry, I Nike'd the world, but I win. The world and I have, having an arm wrestling competition, but I'm going to beat it. Yeah. Yeah. It's not about overcoming. It's not about surmounting. It's not about you versus an obstacle. It's about you versus another person every time. Everyone, because even if you think about overcoming the world in that sense, like Scott, you were just saying, overcoming the world seems like a huge task. It's not a task, it's a competition. You versus the world. It's a competition against a daunting opponent, perhaps. Yeah. Yeah. Each of the having been born of God ones defeats the world, victories the world. And this is the victory, defeating the world, the defeating the world victory. Um, yeah, Randall, I agree. Well, no, I don't think so. The more I think about the English usage, the less convinced I am that when we talk about overcoming an obstacle, we are personifying it as if it were an opponent. Devora, I agree. I think it was the other way around. I think that when we talk about overcoming an opponent, we're depersonifying them. If you say, I overcame my opponent, you're treating your opponent like a block in your path that you climbed over. They couldn't even slow you down. You overcame them. Yeah. Yeah. There's a kind of trivialization in that. And that's what I don't, that's, yeah. I think that's the way the English word works anyway. Again, I'm just here. I'm thinking there. I'm thinking exclusively of the English word, um, and its metaphors and associations. But at the end of the day, I don't care about the word overcome. Because despite the fact that the English translations are really stubborn about this, and I blame the King James used that word. And I think everybody's still getting it from the King James. There are a lot of places where the King James, the usage of the King James just gets in your head. Um, yeah. No, Scott, I don't want to go too far in the direction of overcoming, of trivializing, saying that overcoming trivializes things. Trivializing, I don't think is quite right, but it is true, I think. Like to overcome some obstacles can be heroic. Like I'm not trying to downplay that, but it's about you. The obstacle is inert. It's impersonal. The thing being overcome is impersonal. And if it's used of something that's not impersonal, it seems to me like it's being used metaphorically. And Jackie, I think what you were saying is that it doesn't make it trivial, but it's trivializing it in the sense that you are treating your personal opponent as if they are just a thing you have to climb over. Yes, a minimization. It's a reduction. It's a depersonification, right? You are not my enemy. You are just an attempted roadblock, which I'm about to jump over, or maybe climb over extremely laboriously. Anyway, but the word overcome doesn't enter into this verse because that's a separate question of dealing with our English translations. But I'm trying to deal with John, and John doesn't say overcome, he says Nike. And that means to beat somebody in a competition, in an athletic competition. Whether the original concept is military or athletic, I assume it's got to be military first. Um, so no, Scott, that's the point. See, Scott says the world is not a person, so why is it a bad translation to say overcome the world? Because John is personifying it. John is not saying the world is something impersonal to be overcome. He is saying the world is an opponent that you have to beat. The reason I'm so resistant to overcome is that it changes the sense, it changes the metaphor. And Randall, I think it's not just that. Um, I think it's not just that the world is made up of people. That's true too. There is a sense, of course, one sense in which cosmos is being used to mean like the all the people collectively, right? We saw John use it in that sense the first time we ever read it in John, First John, right? Way back in at the end of paragraph 2 with he is the propitiation for our sins and not for our sins only, but for the sins of the whole world, all the people put together, right? Um, but yet there have also been times in which, quite frequently, he has talked about he has talked about the world as being the opposite number of God, like in paragraph 12. We are ectu theou. What are they? They are ectu cosmo. So you got ectu theou on the one hand and from God on the one hand, from the world on the other hand. Um, All right, Jackie, I'll try your word. Vanquish. Vanquishment is a little bit awkward as a noun, but I'll live with it. It's better than victory as a verb, which I've been using. So, for each of the having been begotten by God, of God ones vanquishes the world. And this is the vanquishment. This is the vanquishing. This is the world vanquishing vanquishment. That's literally what he says. This is the world vanquishing vanquishment. The faith of us. Yeah. Vanquish is a pretty hero speak word. I agree. Yeah. Randall, you missed it at the beginning when I was trying to beat my head against He Nike, He Nike Sasa Ton Cosmon. The active, the aorist, aorist. Sorry, what is this even again? What? Oh, whoa. No, I'm going to mouse over that, not click on it. Aorist active participle. Okay. Yes. Aorist. I don't know why that's the acronym. That putting P for participle in the middle of the three letters always messes me up. Um, okay. Having vanquished, having vanquished the world. But it's aorist, not perfect participle. Having vanquished sounds like you're describing a state. But the aorist participle means like the one that did this that time. This is the world. This is the vanquishment that vanquished the world that time. This is the vanquishment that has vanquished the world. Our faith. Hepistes, Haemon. Okay. Before I leave it behind, um, yeah, it's the victorious victory. It's the world victorious. It's the world vanquishing vanquishment. It's the world vanquishing victory. It's almost like um yeah. Yes, the world vanquishing victory. Because he's trying to emphasize what kind of victory it is, right? This is the victory. The core thing he's saying, Haute estin he Nike. This is the victory. Colon. He pistis hemon. This is the victory. Our faith is the victory. But he can't just let that go. He's like, but I need to emphasize what the victory is over, because if you have a Nike, if you have a victory, it means you had competition, right? What was your what is the who was the competition in your victory? Whom does your faith, whom does our faith defeat? Exactly. And the answer is the world. And he didn't even have to say that because he literally just said it. Each of the having been gotten of God ones defeats the world. And this is like, it vanquishes the world, and this is the vanquishment. But he has to add it again. You know, the of the world vanquishment. Just making sure that's perfectly clear. Even though I just said it a couple words ago. Notice how he's doing the chiastic thing again. It's symmetrical. Again, John loves symmetry. Nike ton cosmon, Nike sasa ton cosmon, Nike in the middle. He's made this Nike sandwich out of it, right? Vanquish the world, vanquish the world, vanquishment, Nike, victory at the center. It's the winningest winning ever won. Exactly. Notice, by the way, if we go outside, the big victory sandwich in the middle, each of the having been born of God ones, that's the lead into the victory sandwich. And what's the lead out of the victory sandwich? Our faith. Each of the having been born of God ones overcomes the world. Oh, wait, how do we overcome the world? Our faith. Wait a second. Where did this paragraph start? Each of the believing that Jesus is the Christ one, pisteuon, faith word. I'm going to use trust, both because that clarifies the word belief for me and also because it can be a noun in English. Each of the trusting that Jesus Christ has been, no, each of the trusting that Jesus is the Christ one has been born of God. Each of the trusting that Jesus is the Christ one has been born of God. And what is the overcoming of the world? What overcomes the world? Each of the having been born of God ones overcomes the world, defeats the world, vanquishes the world. And what is the vanquishment of the world? Our trust, our pistis. Okay, there's still a lot to untangle in this paragraph, but let me go back to what we were ending with last time. And I'm going to run out of time again, but we'll try it. And that is, Susan, I think it was your suggestion, wasn't it, last time, that we reconsider the like the editorial, the deciding where the periods lie in this whole paragraph. Each of the trusting that Jesus is the Christ has been born of God. And each of the loving the begetter ones also loves the having been begotten of him ones. In this, we know that we love the children of God. Hotan, when if we love God and we keep the commandments of him. And one idea was, so let's see, your suggestion, Susan, if I'm recalling it correctly, is that the first half of verse 3 should be attached to that, to the last one. In this we know that we love the children of God, when we love God and we keep his commandments, because this is the love of God, that we should keep his commandments. And the commandments of him are not heavy, in that everyone having been born of God overcomes the world. That makes so much sense. Why are we starting a sentence with hoti? That works so much better if kai, which John often starts sentences with and. Um, if this is the beginning of the sentence, and the commandments of him are not burdensome, in that Each of the having been born of God ones victory vanquishes the world. That's why they're not heavy. Doesn't that explain what I mean when I say they're not heavy? The commandments? The commandments aren't heavy. Because if you've been begotten by God, you defeat the world. So, yeah. And you can either, you could then start a new sentence also halfway through four with the next Kai. And the commandments of him are not burdensome, in that everyone having been born of God defeats, vanquishes the world. And this is the vanquishment, the world vanquishing vanquishment. Our trust. Hypistes hemon. Yeah, I like that a lot. I like that a lot. In tuto is clearly the beginning of the sentence. John loves beginning sentences that way. And attaching the first half of three puts his two entolos statements into parallel with each other. In this we know that we love the children of God, when if we love God and make his commandments happen. Because haute, this is the love of God, that we should keep his commandments. And the commandments aren't heavy, in that everyone having been born of God vanquishes the world. So that's not heavy. It shows you how unheavy it is. Far from weighing you down, it equips you to win a competition against the entire world. Each singular of the having been born one defeats the world. If you are begotten of God, if you are ectu theou, if you're born ectu theou, you defeat the world. You vanquish the world. Everybody, each one. Pan, to, gegenenemon. There's so many nasals in that word, I can't even handle it. Gegenemenon, ectu theou. For each of the born of God ones vanquishes the world. So does that sound like, it's weighing you down? Apparently not. If you're winning the competition against the whole world, and what's our secret? How do we win that victory? How do we defeat the world? What is the world defeating, the world vanquishing vanquishment? Our pistis, our faith, our trust. Ooh, okay. I think I like it. I think I like it. Um, Let me think a little bit more real quick. Let me think about it now again in the old way and see how it changes it in my head. Because I had this sense that it changed it. But now it makes so much sense to me. I'm not even seeing the old way. In this, we know that we love the children of God when we love God and keep his commandments. Because this is the love of God, that we should keep his commandments, and his commandments are not burdensome. Right? The real question, and Susan, this was the context in which it came up last time, is what does and the commandments of him are not burdensome? Is that part of the previous sentence or is it part of the next sentence? That's really the question here. Yeah. Yes. Randall, I agree. Uh, Randall says the big problem I have with the old way is treating Hina as if it were the same as Hoti, and yeah, it's not. Because this is the love of God, so that we should keep the commandments of him. So that Hina is a purpose statement. Because, Gar, this is the love of God. I'm trying to understand still. I went past this last week without fully wrestling with it. When you say something like that, again, forgetting this sentence itself specifically for now, when you say, this is a thing, Hina, something else, right? What are you doing? Like, what are you saying? When you just said, this is the thing, haute, estin, whatever noun, right? Hina, because I mean, it sounds like he's defining love. This is the love of God. I'm about to lay on you a definition of the love of God. What is the love of God? I'll tell you what the love of God is. This is the love of God. And that's why we translate it that way, because that's what it sounds like. But you're right. When you just translate it that's the, like, as if you could use a colon in English. This is the love of God, colon. Here it comes. I'm going to tell you what the love of God is. I'm going to define it. But that's what Hoti does. That's not what Hina does. Hina is a purpose statement. Hina, God loves us. God loves so that we should keep his commandments. Yeah. Okay. Um, yeah, that's also really true. Think about the question Stephen raised last week. Is the love of God a subjective or objective genitive? That is it God's love? Is it the love of God? Like the love that belongs to God? Or is it our love of God? Who's doing the loving? This is the love that belongs to God. Or this is our love of God. Here's how we love God. You know how you love God? You love God by keeping his commandments. That's how you love God. Well, that makes a whole lot of sense. Yeah, the genitive is challenging. Hang on, I'll give you a third possibility. Hey, agape to theou. Well, how many times have we heard that? That is like ek to theou, ek to theou, ek to cosmo. I know it's not ek here, but um, but could it have that sense of from? Not just this is how we love God, or this is what God's love is like, but this is what love that is from God is like. If if you've got love, if you love and you're loving with a love that is a God love, it's ectutheo, your love. If your love is ectutheo, then this is what your love's going to look like, right? Okay. Join me next week when we sort out all of the problems that we have with this is intense. This paragraph is intense. And I feel like I'm still not even understanding how the pieces all fit together. Um, yeah. So the good news is we've talked about all of the sentences and we've discussed all the words in this short paragraph. Not that short paragraph. This short paragraph. Um, but I feel like I still have like I've got a very vague sense of how this all goes together and what he's trying to say and how it fits in with what he's just been saying. So we're going to try to iron this out a little bit more. We're going to try to work all this stuff together. And yes, we still I've been practically dodging our faith at the end. That's part, Scott, of what I want to bring. I mean, he starts with faith and ends with faith, right? He starts with pistis and ends with pistis. And I want to bring those together, right? I want to see how he's taking the concepts, the core concepts of this paragraph and bringing them together. Um, yeah, it's the second word of the paragraph and the last word. Yeah, exactly. And one a noun and one a verb, but still, it's yeah, it's the same. It's the same thing. Okay, so we're we're kind of done with this paragraph in the sense of being nowhere near done with this paragraph. So next time we're totally in this paragraph again. So we're not going to be rash and move on to the next, even though the very next sentence is going to use our Nike word again. Um, but that's okay. We can wait for it. And we'll be better prepared for more vanquishing when we get to when we sort this one out more. Okay. All right. That's what we'll do next time. Thank you guys so much. This was great. I will see you guys again next time. Thanks, everybody. Bye now.